I'm going to be telling you a little bit about Mystic Seaport. It's the largest maritime museum in the United States, and a little bit about some of the ships that are here that have been restored. So we're starting with the Charles W. Morgan, which is one of the most famous ships here. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. Again, it's the only surviving wooden whaling ship around. I also want to mention, a lot of people do not realize that where we are right now is the whaling capital of the world at one time. So let me tell you a little bit about the Charles W. Morgan, and then we'll go aboard it. This ship was built in 1841 in New Bedford, Massachusetts. It is one of more than 600 American ships that hunted whales around the world. But again, this is the only surviving wooden whale ship that we have today that you're seeing here in Mystic. It was named for its original owner, who was Charles Morgan. The vessel made 37 voyages during its 80-year whaling history. Most of those voyages lasted about 3 years. Most of the hunting was done primarily in the Pacific Ocean. And shorter voyages generally happened, most of the voyages were between 1887 and 1904. And the Morgan was then, at that point in 1904, was docked in San Francisco, where it stayed. It typically had a crew of 30 to 36 people aboard. And I will take you aboard so you can see at least the top deck. I'm not going to take you down below to the bunkers. I was down there, and it's really very difficult to get inside there. It's a very narrow staircase. So it is now, of course, here docked at Mystic Seaport. It's also obviously on the National Registry of Landmarks. And it has been restored, and it actually did a trip a few years ago and stopped in ports around New England, so people had a chance to see it. So I'm going to take you aboard it so you could see it, and then I'm going to take and show you some of the other ships that are here at Mystic Seaport. So again, we are going aboard right now of the Charles W. Morgan. And by the way, you can go out here, you could go sailing, or you could take a small boat out, as we're doing right here on the Mystic River. And I will probably take a boat ride at some point. So we are walking aboard the ship right now. And as I said, I'll show you the top deck and some of the features of the boat. And then we'll cruise around and look at some of the other boats that are here at the Mystic Maritime Museum. There's also a restored village here of what seaport villages looked like at that time. So we're now aboard the boat. I'm going to tour you around a little bit. I also want to allow time to show you some of the other boats that are here at the Mystic Maritime Museum. So we are moving in right now to the helm. And I'm going to give you a view out here of the Mystic River. It's a beautiful, clear day. Obviously, this is the ship's wheel, as you can see. Okay, we'll continue around, walking around the top deck here. This is what is known as the caboose. And we will keep going. Again, for people that are joining now, let me just give you a view of the Mystic River, where Mystic Seaport is located. And there's about 30 boats docked here. Actually, there's quite a few out on the water today. It's a really beautiful day. Welcome aboard to Mystic, Connecticut, to the very famous Mystic Seaport. It's a great day to be here. There's actually some kayakers out there right now, and a few boats that are going out. Some nice sailboats out there. So I want to take you around. The Morgan, again, is the only surviving wooden whaling boat that is around today. So it's wonderful to be able to share it with you. I'm going to show you what are called tryouts. So the tryouts were used to take the whale blubber and convert it to whaling oil. So I'm going to be showing you that as I turn around in a minute. But right now we're getting a nice view of the Mystic River. So let me show you what those are. These tryout works, again, this is where the whale blubber would go. And the men worked day in and day out, converting it to whale oil. Now I'm going to show you where there is the entrance to go down below to see the bunkers, but I'm not going to go down there with the camera. It's very steep. It is interesting, and I don't know if I'll keep a connection on when I go down there. So actually this is the exit only that we're at right now. This is the staff area of the Morgan. Okay, so again, C.W. Morgan, named after C.W. Morgan, the man who was responsible for this ship. Again, let me show you a little bit more before we disembark from the Morgan and move on to look at some of the other historic boats that are here at the Maritime Museum. There's also a restored village, but I'm going to keep this broadcast focused just on the boats here. You are going to hear people, of course, in the background. There's a good number of visitors today. After a 3-day heat wave, we finally have beautiful weather here. So we'll continue around, and I'm now going to be leaving the Morgan. This is, by the way, the main mast, and I'll try to scope up a little bit. I have seen pictures of this when it's in full sail. It's absolutely exquisite. It's amazing. They did take this out for a launch several years ago, stopping at various ports in New England. So it was an amazing, that was after it was went through some restoration. A lot of work goes into the restoration of these boats. So we are going to leave the Morgan. As I'm exiting it, I'm going to keep the camera on the boat. And we're walking down a ramp here, and we are going to take a look at some of the other boats here. So I am walking backwards here as we're disembarking from the Charles Morgan. You can begin to see some of the restored village over there. Okay, and inside this wooden house that you see here, there's an exhibit that explains how the blubber was extracted using the tanks I just showed you. I could go through there, but I really want to show you the boats because it's a beautiful day. It's a great day to be outside. So this boat actually goes out, and you can go out on it. I'll tell you a little bit about it. I'm just going to pause here for a minute to show you the beautiful woodwork, and then I'm going to do a walkthrough with you. You can't go aboard this one, but I want you to admire the woodwork. It's incredible, beautiful, beautiful boat. And this is, I'll tell you a little bit as we get closer, but I want to do just a walkthrough to show you all of it. Again, we can't walk on it right now. Okay, we're coming up to the front of it. And then I will turn around and give you some more information as we're looking at the boat in its totality, or try to, as much as we can get into the frame. This is called the Aida, the boat we're looking at now. And it was designed in Bristol, Rhode Island. And it is made of long leaf yellow pine and Douglas fir. Okay, so let me just pan up a little bit here. So this boat that we're looking at, the Aida, has primarily been in the New England area. It was docked in Maine for a while, and then docked in Massachusetts. And it was brought here eventually to the Maritime Museum. So beautiful, beautiful boat, incredible woodwork. Okay, we are going to be walking along the pier here, taking a look at a few other boats as we go. And just try to also give you some beautiful views of the Mystic River. Again, we're getting another view. Let me just pause here. We're getting another really good view of the Morgan. Again, anybody that's on now, just want to remind you, this is the only surviving wooden whaling ship in the world today. And I'm very proud to say that at one time, where we are along the Long Island Sound and along, well, the Mystic River, but the Long Island Sound was at one time, again, where we are in Connecticut, was the whaling capital of the world. And so many people don't know that, but the icon or symbol for our state actually is a whale. So as I said, we're going to continue along. As I'm walking over to some other boats to show you those, you are going to see some of the restored village. I'm not going to stop inside any of the buildings for now because I want to really focus on the boats as I'm doing this video for you. But the boats are spread out. So we're going to walk along the path, and all the restored buildings you're seeing here are all from New England. They were all brought here to recreate what a seaport village looked like at one time in the 1800s. But some of these boats date before the 1800s even. So there are plaques on here that will also give you information about when these buildings were first built. The one we're looking at right now was a bank in 1833. Again, you could go into each one of the buildings, but we're going to focus on the boats for now. I do want to stay outside. It's just too beautiful today not to. So we're going to be coming down, taking a nice look at that beautiful boat over there, and move along. Again, we can look at some of the seaport shops as we go. This is the printing press that we're looking at right here. All the shops are open with working exhibits, and people inside, they're doing demonstrations. Okay, this was a shop for making mast hoops for boats, a clock and watch shop, and for making sextants for boats, so nautical instruments. Okay, so we are now heading over to this amazing boat. I think there's at least 4 boats here that are on the National Registry as landmarks. You get a really great view. Wow, I'm going to stop right here. A great view of the Charles Morgan right from here as I back up. A really beautiful view of the Morgan. Amazing. Okay, walking along the Mystic River for our next boat where we're going to pause and take a look. There's a small boat exhibit inside a barn that I'm coming to, but I'm going to bypass that as we come to our next boat. Another great view of the Charles Morgan. Okay, we are able to go aboard our next boat that we're looking at here. And as we get closer, I'll give you more information. And I think I'm going to try to feature 4 boats, but again, they're very spread out along the shoreline here of the Mystic River. Okay, so the boat we're looking at now is called the Joseph Conrad. It was built in 1882. It was actually originally in Denmark, in Copenhagen. It sailed under 3 different flags. It is now permanently here in Mystic. It was originally built in 1882.
I would never learn my lesson.
And it sailed on the Baltic Sea and the North Seas. And at any one time, it would have had 80 cadets aboard. Actually, in 1905, it sank in a collision. And unfortunately, 2 of the crew that were aboard did drown. So this boat has been around the world. It was also at one time in Australia. And today, the Joseph Conrad has been brought to Mystic Seaport. It was brought here in 1947. And at that time, President Truman signed an act of Congress giving the boat to Mystic Seaport. And today you can go on it to see exhibits. It's also used for training. So young children can come here and get instruction on sailing right aboard that boat, the Conrad. So we'll take a quick peek aboard it. And anybody that's doing any visiting in the New England area, especially this time of the year, must come to place is really the Mystic Seaport. It's just amazing, and we're really lucky to be here on an absolutely beautiful day. So I am going to take you aboard Joseph Conrad. And actually, there's nobody on it. Oh, there's 1 or 2 people on it as we're coming aboard. So we will get a look inside. And I'll pause at different spots for you to enjoy and appreciate the boat. Okay, we'll do another quick, let me kind of come up here this way and do a little pan up. Okay. And we'll just walk to the rear just quickly and then continue on with a tour of the boats that are docked here. You can almost see in the background some of the Charles Morgan. Let's peek inside here. The cabin right there, I think you could see that. A little cubby hole. And the area here marked staff would be for the cabins down below when the boat was originally in use. So, welcome to Mystic Seaport. And we are going to now disembark from the Joseph Conrad and take a look at, I think I'll try to do 2 or 3 other boats for you as we walk around. Now they do run a sailing program here for people who want to learn how to sail or improve their skills. So it is very much a working museum in addition to the buildings that are open that have exhibits. There's also a research center here, which is amazing, which is connected with one of the local universities. So students that are studying in marine biology or in anything related to ships, this would be a great place to come and do your research. So these are some of the boats that would be used for training. So we're going to walk around. There's an exhibit in here of small boats, but we're going to continue again to see the ones that are docked. We're going to get a great view of the Charles Morgan. Let me just pause right there. A really beautiful view of the Charles Morgan. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, again, this is an exhibit of small boats, but I want to stay outside with you. And I'm actually going to walk you down to a replica of a lighthouse that's down this way. There's a bunch of people going in right now, so I'm not going to go into the lighthouse. But I'll walk you through that way at least, as we're walking through. If you have questions, of course, I'm here to answer them for you. This is where the sailing center is. We're taking lessons. And it'd be a really good day to be out on a sailboat today. This is a nice, gentle breeze. The temperature's perfect. It's dry, no chance of rain. And again, on the Mystic River there, you can see one of the sailboats that's anchored. Okay, there's about 4 more boats to the area that I'm coming to next. And so we're going to walk through that way. And I'll try to give you a peek at the lighthouse, even though there's some people that are entering. I might be able to get, there's a little bit of breeze here, which feels great. Okay, so there is the lighthouse for you. It's a replica of a lighthouse. This was a replica of the second lighthouse that was ever built in the United States in the colonies. And it was originally in Maine. So it's a little bit windy here, which feels very, very good. But I'll come up a little bit so I can show you a little bit more of the lighthouse. This is the Brant Point Lighthouse that you're looking at right now. And it is open. They have 2 short videos in there that are fascinating. If I could get in there without any people, I would show you them. But it's such a great day. A lot of people, not that many, but people have come down here to enjoy it. By the way, what we're looking at there is downtown Mystic, a great town to tour. It's beautiful. Lots of things, lots of beautiful shops and really neat restaurants. Very much a tourist area. Many people come from all over the world. Okay, so I'm going to be walking around this area for now to get to 2 more boats for you. I'm trying to figure out the best way to get to it so we could focus on the boats. But as we're walking, at least you get to see the Mystic River. And it looks like they're setting up for a reception under this tent today. But we'll walk through and get some great views of Mystic River in downtown Mystic. And this is called the Bartram Dock, and it was actually donated by a family. Okay, I'm going to show you the 2 or 3 boats we're coming to next. There's also a boat, and I'm going to probably take it because it's such a beautiful day, that you could go out and take about a half-hour cruise, which I think I am going to be doing a little later. So we're going to walk over to those two boats over there. And a boathouse here. Okay, I'm walking on some pebbles here, so you might hear them crunching under my feet. A place here to launch boats. And you actually could rent boats here right at this boathouse. So we're going to remind you this is a working museum, in the sense that not only can you go in and see the exhibits and go aboard some of the boats, but you also can do various activities here, including going out on a boat. And some of the exhibits you can hands-on. So bear with me as we walk down to two more boats that I want to try to get into this broadcast for you. See in the meantime how beautiful the sky is. This again gives you an idea of the village. Do just a little pan there. There's the Charles Morgan again. You might get a really good view of it right here. I don't know. Well, let's keep going as we walk around. Mystic Seaport goes all the way. We see that red building. That is where they do the restoration. And that's the southernmost end of Mystic Seaport. And oh, it feels so nice, the breeze. And two more boats coming up. And then I think, as I said, I think I'm going to be going out for a boat ride myself. Okay, this is Thomas Oyster Company. Here at one point, the oystering here in Long Island Sound was prohibited for a while to get it restocked. And this boat is called the Nellie that you're looking at. It's an oystering boat. And I'm going to stop here at the Emma Berry. This boat was named Emma after the person who built its daughter. And we'll stop and take a look at the Emma Berry, and I'll give you a little information about the Emma Berry. Okay, this is called a Noank Wellsmack. It was built in 1877. I just want to show you a picture of what it'll look like when the sails are up. And the sails, when they're up, are wider than the length of the cabin. Okay, it was built right here in Mystic, actually just only 3 miles from where we're standing. And it sailed all along the eastern coast from Maine to Florida. And it came to Mystic for restoration in 1969. It took a few years to restore it. And of course, the Emma Berry will be staying here. So, hi, how are you? So, this is my first time actually using YouTube Live. I usually use Periscope, but I wanted to try it out. So tell all your friends and family about YouTube Live, a little competition for Periscope. Okay, we are now going to walk over to the Rowan, which is that boat right there that we're coming to. And this is also this little booth that you see here. This is where you can make arrangements to go out on a half-hour trip up down the Mystic River. And today, as I said, it's a great day for it. And this is the boat that takes you out, the Florence. It's one of the boats that would take you out. But we're going to go over to Rowan and two more boats in this area. So again, this is the largest maritime museum in the United States. Of course, we're along Long Island Sound, Mystic River, and of course we'd open out into the Atlantic Ocean here. So it's an amazing, amazing place. Okay, so we'll stop here just for a little bit. I'll tell you, I'm sorry, the Florence is not the one that goes out. This is the one that goes out. I'll tell you a little bit about the Florence as we're looking at it. The Florence and the Rowan right over there. These were used for net fishing. They replaced traditional hook and line methods. And we're also going to take a look a little later at the L.A. Jointon, a similar type of boat. But these were typical boats that we used in southern New England for fishing. And the kind of fish that we usually caught on these boats were, for instance, off of Block Island, might have been flounder, cod, and haddock. And of course, if you are in some areas off of Massachusetts, we could go out for swordfish. So these are typical boats that were used for fishing in the New England area. So I want to take you around and show you both the Florence, this was built in 1926, and it's permanently here, obviously, in Mystic. And I'm going to take you over to the Rowan, which I believe you could go aboard. So bear with me as we walk around a little bit. Again, this is where the booth where you would get tickets if you wanted to go on a boat ride. And there's not many people lined up for it right now, which is nice because I'm going to do a boat ride a little bit. And I might try to do a periscope from the boat when I get there. Okay, so we are now coming over to the Rowan over that way. There's two boats right here. It's going to be really easy to get them both in. And this is the L.A. Daunton from Boston. So we're going to take a quick peek there, and I'll probably try to end this broadcast on one of these boats and see if I could get another good view of the Morgan. I also want to call attention to what we see back there. It's the Preservation Shipyard, which is responsible for keeping all these boats beautifully restored. So this is where you could take a waterfront cruise. You would purchase your tickets here. They run every hour on the half hour. And so we'll stop here at the Rowan. And we are able to go onto the L.A. Daunton. So again, both of these boats are on the National Registry of Landmarks. And I'll tell you a little bit about each of them as we come a little closer. Okay, on the Rowan, this is an Eastern rig dragger. And it was originally in Maine. It was built in 1946. I'm going to show you a close-up picture of it. I think I could get it in there. I'm getting some sun glare. And the Rowan sailed off of the Cape Cod as really as recently as 2014 when they took the Morgan out also for a voyage after it was restored. So this boat has been in the waters of New England for over 50 years. And it's really survived without much major alteration. And this is also sometimes known as the Eastern rig dragger. It's very common in the waters here of New England at the time, and it became part of Mystic Seaport in 1997, so it is a recent acquisition. And it did launch in 2008. Here's when it was launching out, just to show you some pictures. Okay, we are now going aboard the Daunton, and I'll just do a quick walk through here. Again, these are very much what we used fishing back in the old days. Doing some restoration work right out that way, and some more restoration work out that way. I'm going to see, I don't think I could get the Morgan from here, so I might just end my scope before it goes, welcome to Mystic Seaport. I'm sorry, scope, my YouTube. I've been doing a lot of periscoping, and beautiful, beautiful views here of the Mystic River. Okay, so I can't get back to the Morgan, as I said, most famous whaling ship that survived. It's a little too far away from where we are right now, but we'll end shortly, and I'm going to try to hop on a boat. And I don't know if I'll do a periscope on it or a YouTube live, I'm not sure. Here's a picture close up of the L.A. Daunton, what it would have looked like. I'm getting a little glare there from a pole, but you get the idea. And this boat was built in Essex, Massachusetts in 1921. Okay. And this is two entrances actually into Mystic Seaport. This is one of the entrances that we're going to be passing. It's the south entrance. I actually came in through the north entrance. But let me just take you down and show you the sign for welcome to the seaport. And another view, beautiful view here of the exquisite Mystic River on an exquisite day. And walk down this pier here. Again, just remind people, it's my first time using YouTube Live, so it's been an adventure for me as well. And here we come. This is there's a directional map here and other information, but this is where we are, and we will finish up here. Thank you, everybody, and I hope to do more YouTube Lives. We'll see how it goes.